This episode is brought to you by Bellator's Publishing, bringing stories to the world that last forever.
Today on Faithfully Fantasy.
She says, though there's no mention of a cure for Venin, I don't think it's an accident that cure for Venin and Andarna in the same sentence again. Wouldn't it be ironic that she would search the continent and beyond for a cure for Xaden, and she had the cure all along, and it was Andarna?
Right, so we finally had the research, but has a password, not going in the wrong hands. But the thing that blew my mind in this one is there's a rune as well. And I was like, wow, he was a scribe, how he managed to put like a rune in that book. To he like...
That's a really good question.
Hello and welcome to Faithfully Fantasy,
The husband and wife podcast talking all things Onyx Storm.
I'm JC.
And I'm Sean.
And today we're covering chapter 15 to 17. We'll be using adult language, so listener discretion is advised.
This episode will contain spoilers from all three books, as well as snippets of information we've had from Rebecca Yarros since the release of the third book.
If you're loving our content and want even more, we got something special for you. Subscribe for exclusive monthly content, early access to episodes, and ad-free experience. You can subscribe directly on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, but for the best value and extra perks, head over to faithfullyfantasy.com to find the perfect plan for you. And without further ado, let's get into the squad brief.
This week, we enter a new part of Basgayath. Professor Ryerson is challenged by various members of the Iron Squad, and basic Caroline Ashton's squad too. We're plunged into the shadows and learning to distinguish between our Shadow Daddy's shadows and the shadows he is shadowing from other shadows. How many times can I say shadows in this episode? We smooch in the shadows, again, but then we get a stark reminder that Violet is the only one who can kill Xaden. No! Squad trip to Shantara! Dain agrees to get Daddy Sorrengail's research. Either we trust him or we don't. Daddy Sorrengail's research finally enters the scene, but it's locked with a scribe's worst nightmare. Enter the wrong password and the book gets covered in ink. We get back in the Signet sparring pit and the Iron Squad is taking on Aaric this time, together. But there's unexpected royalty in the audience. He only has eyes for his lightning-wielding ex-girlfriend, and Professor Ryerson is having absolutely none of it.
Alright, that sounds like really interesting episodes. All of them and the math, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much like 2 episodes. And
yeah, but it's a new place, so we get to see a new part of Basgayath, as we said. Yeah, it feels like these 3 chapters go really quickly. I don't think there's not... I'm going to say there's not a huge lot to dive into, but then I'm sure we'll still find absolutely loads.
All right, time for a history lesson. So let's jump in to uncover what the past can reveal about the future.
Yes. Chapter 15.
Epigraph.
Yeah. The epigraph says, some combat signets are fearsome, but any rider can be brought low by 2 things, lack of a shield or a group effort. Never give the enemy the advantage of surrounding you. Griffins of Poromil, A Study in Combat by Major Garion Savoy.
Okay, anything that you want to say about this epigraph?
Lack of a shield worries me a bit, because it means potentially we might at some point in the series have to go without a shield. And that for me means going without Mira.
Yeah.
So I'm not convinced Mira is going to make it out of the series. It would be absolutely tragic, and we know Rebecca Yarros likes a tragic scene. So.
Yeah, and when we start maybe to see the sad relationship growing, that would be like tragically.
I know, it would be really sad, wouldn't it, if she's only just... Because we find out in this chapter that she's never... Is it this chapter? Or the next one? That she's never actually been in... We don't think that she's been in love yet.
Yeah.
We'll definitely see love on the cards for Mira and Drake. I also think it links to the group effort that we see in chapter 17 when they realise that they need to work as a group, as a squad, to signet spar with Garrick. And I think this is kind of setting the scene for none of them will win on their own. So it just shows that the squad are better together.
Yes, that a little bit of foreshadowing. They work always better when they are all together.
Yeah.
Okay, so we start the chapter as we Professor Ryerson's first class. We start to see a little bit how it's going to be this new place when we're going to have the classes. We're going to this amphitheater that's in the carved into the northern ridge line, Western Infantry quadrant.
Yes.
And something that surprised me about this place is all the war they had inside. So we have something that as well, like had their own weather inside. So outside you see the snow, but when you're going inside, they say they feel like summer. So I was wondering, like, wow, what other like kind of world you can build with magic?
Yeah, that would be really handy, wouldn't it? If you could like go on holiday and build yourself a little weather ward, so you'd always have nice weather when you're on holiday.
Yeah, you don't need a greenhouse. You just build like a little area in your garden with a weather ward, and then you can grow, I don't know, tomatoes, bananas in England.
Oh, yeah, that'd be amazing. I think that what's interesting about this is he says that the wards would make even Mira Soaringale proud.
Yes.
They do more than just keep the weather consistent. They stop the signets from escaping the mat area. I wonder if they also do something to prevent Xaden from wanting to channel from the earth, because it seems like he feels more relaxed there. I know that obviously he feels a bit safer within the wards anyway, but then I wonder if he's managed to convince people that you need to protect it from Venin as well. They don't know that he's actually the one that you need to protect it from, but I wonder if, because if he's up against it, I don't think anybody is capable of certainly not in these two squads, apart from Violet, which he knows that she won't do it. I'm not sure that anybody is able to beat his signet. Possibly Bodhi.
Yeah. Well, it won't beat it, it would just like neutralize it.
Yeah, exactly. But then then he would win with a sword, wouldn't he? Or I can't imagine Bodhi beating Xaden. So yeah, I just wondered what else those wards could have protected against. I definitely suspect that he's done something to protect people from himself.
Because from a point of view, this place is kind of like an onion, because it like different layers. So you have, I guess, in the full amphitheater, like a weather wall. So it's always war inside. But then when you go to the pit, there's another ward in there. So they can have a fight with the signet, and they won't escape to the people who are watching. So it's a ward inside a ward. There's inside another ward. So Xaden spend most of the time is in the center. So maybe, like you said, because there's like so many layers there, maybe he doesn't feel the hunger for the
and he feels
swords.
safe because she said, is this where you're spending most of your time?
Yeah.
And I think it's because he wants to keep himself under control.
Yes.
Because we know how much he likes control. It says that there's a couple of exceptions to the signets being able to be contained. He glances at Violet, so we're pretty sure that Violet is one of those exceptions. She can, her lightning can escape the wards. I wondered if that was because it's weather related. I know that it's not, it's power, but because it's a weather ward, does that mean actually weather? I don't know, that would be the opposite, wouldn't it?
If you're in storm wielder, the storm coming is from outside, so I don't think that you will be able to create like a little cloud in the mat.
Yeah, so example. It allows you to bypass the wards. If you, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So because he says a couple of exceptions, which I would imagine would be Violet and a storm wielder or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also learn here that Violet is finally practicing her signet. We've said in the past that she reminds us of, well, she definitely reminds me of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
In that she's got all this power and amazing ability that she never thought she was going to have, because she grew up thinking she was going to be a scribe.
Yeah.
Harry grew up thinking he was a muggle, goes to school, doesn't fucking do his homework.
Yeah.
Just last minute with everything. If I was at Hogwarts, if I had the opportunity to be at Hogwarts, I would be like practicing all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, I'm quite a last minute person, aren't I? But I would be excited by that. So Violet has like kind of pissed me off a bit in the past with that. But she's practicing. She's doing an hour a day. She's getting better.
For me, the thing that didn't make sense was after Reason, she lost Leanne. And one of the reasons was because she wasn't able to accurately control her sickness. So I was thinking after that would be like one of the priorities.
But no, she decided she needed to run faster.
Yeah.
so she did a lot of running.
Yeah, which for me just doesn't make sense because she wants to protect people and she has a power that, yes, it's a weapon, but at the same time could be really useful to protect the people around.
She's not the type of person that would run away, is she?
No. But finally, I'm happy to see they like taking it seriously.
She's doing her homework.
Yes, like, gosh, finally.
Yeah.
So even when they are so close now, Zayden and Violet, they don't have that much time to see each other. So there's even a point when Zayden said that we used to spend more time when he was in Samara, which is true because they spend the whole weekend together. Now he has a professor and she is a cadet. They have to pretend that they're nothing.
Yeah, they're spending the nights together though. Mentally, not physically. I think this is really clever writing, and I remember saying out loud before you'd got to this point that Rebecca Yarros has managed to find a way to keep them close but apart.
Yeah.
When it's really hard, I think, when you're writing romance and they're so wildly in love with each other and they want to be sleeping with each other all the time, to kind of, I know they're in a war, so it's easier, I guess, arguably in romantasy because there's just so much shit to get done. I mean, in real life, there's so much shit to get done. But I don't know, I feel like it's clever that she's managed to keep them close, but make it impossible that every other scene can be a sex scene, because it can get like, I don't know, don't come at me, everyone, but it can get a bit too much, kind of, if it's like, that's all the story is, and it's not. It's just a part of the story of the Empyrean series. So, yeah, I feel like Rebecca Yarros has been really, really clever with this. She's put one barrier in place that is Zayden not wanting to lose control, but she still gives enough to push that. But then she also puts the codex barrier in place, and it makes it easier for him to not like want to lose control. And it's very clever.
Yeah, she is definitely an expert in romance, and as a writer, you don't want to put like everything easy and everything perfect for the characters and for the plot, because then it would be like really boring. If they're all happily
always
all
together,
the time.
yeah.
They're like unshakable or whatever, so there's no drama.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
What she does do though in these few chapters is she really emphasizes the gestures that the men are making, and it makes you go like, as, I don't know, I'm going to say as a woman, but I'd imagine gay men as well would like it. I mean, we get some good jokes from Riddick in this one, but the gestures, like Zayden putting his hands in his pocket and like that, you can see he's affected by that. It's nice. It's good romance writing. There's also a bit with Garrick and Imogen later where he like the things Garrick is saying. And he's obviously flirting, it's banter, but it's, I don't know, it's nice. And then even one bit where Traeger, I don't know what it is, but she's so detailed in the movements. Traeger puts his arms back on the, in the amphitheatre, on the backrests. And it's something that you wouldn't, it's just not part of the story. You wouldn't really pick up on it, but the little gestures she makes are just like signs of men outwardly showing affection to women, and it's just nice to read. Like, it's really nice to read. Violet and Zayden are having a bit of a catch up in their heads and like lamenting the fact they haven't been able to spend a lot of time together. In this part is when we find out that Violet's been doing a lot of reading using Andarna as a backrest, which is quite a nice image as well. And she says, though there's no mention of a cure for Venin or any dragons being able to torture Venin like Andarna did, I don't think it's an accident that cure for Venin and Andarna in the same sentence again.
Yeah.
It feels like there's definitely something. I wouldn't it be ironic that she would search the continent and beyond for a cure for Xaden, and she had the cure all along, and it was Andarna.
It's definitely something about the Seven Dain dragons, because that part when they found them for the very first time, and then Satan arrives, and one of them, I can't remember if it's Leotas or another of the seven, do something, and then Satan appears with the red eyes in front of them.
Iridology.
Yeah, but
Changes in eye colour.
But it's kind of like he's just revealing himself. It's like he's like kind of like wearing kind of like I don't know, like a mask. Like
like
he's still a human, but actually he's a Venin. And then he just like boom, take that out away. So I don't know if because it's able to like target like who's a Venin and reveal the Venin by itself. Could be maybe something that is like they're able to take that Venin inside and take it away or something. Somehow.
Yeah, so my theory, and this is quite long-winded, is that the Irids can do something to limit or cure Venin. We know that Irids can break a bond between a dragon and a rider. Why couldn't they break a bond between the earth magic and a Venin? They seem to be able to bend magic. They seem to be able to... And we get hints, or it's pretty much confirmed, surely, that the dragons are actually taking the magic from the ground, not from the sky. The Irids are taking it from the sky. So you can't even use the argument that they're breaking a bond between a different type of magic. It's it's earth magic, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the question could be whether it's specifically a dragon bond. Could they do that to a griffin? Or is it because they're dragons, they could just do dragons? So there's obviously a counter to it. The other thing is I am pretty convinced, and I can get into this later as well, because we learn where the red dragons are from. But I'm still leaning to the fact that the Irids are originally from the Barrens. And I think they could have been part of the cause of why the Venin started venining, because they refused to bond with humans. They were seeing that other dragons were bonding. They wanted to do the same. They couldn't get it from the dragons that were near to their home, so they took it from the earth instead. They learned how to take it from the earth. But I don't know. I'm not convinced that is the real thing that happened, because I think everyone had access to magic and then the dragons started controlling it. But it's a nice theory.
Yeah.
We get another mention here about how the dragons are taking longer to channel. Ree talks about it later in Chantara as well, because she's worried about it. But they note that most of the first years are sitting on the front row. When I read this the first time, I kind of thought it might be because the dragons are struggling to channel themselves, because the magic it needs a balance. And I've said this before, haven't I, that I think maybe the reason they're not bonding as much as they used to is because they can't. Well, it's disproven later, because we know all of the first years do eventually get a signet, but it could be that there's something slowing it down, and magic isn't quite sure whether it trusts the dragons to be the keepers of that magic anymore.
Yeah.
Because they're corrupted. But we do find out that Avalyn becomes a fire wielder. Lynx sadly becomes a shadow wielder.
The new shadow daddy.
Aaric, precognition. Baylor. This is testing my memory now. Baylor is farsight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we know and Sloane already has. I also do think Aaric has manifested at this point. I think we get a hint in this chapter that he's already manifested.
So while Zayden and Violet, they're having this mental catch-up about everything that's going on, there's a cadet from third year that doesn't believe that Zayden is the right person to do this, because for this guy, Zayden has been just like 1 year in advance than him. So Zayden just graduated last year, he's in third year. So he doesn't believe that he's the right person to do this. So Zayden felt like challenge. And we start to see that Zayden is just playing with him a couple of times. He's just looking at Violet, even like wink once. And you can see like how confident he is about everything.
So easy for him, isn't it? Why did Lauren choose to just extend the sword? Even and I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I would have that he could have used
Zayden's
weapons. Why not? Idiot. Fool. That's what Zayden calls him. He's a fool.
So he was just using his own weapon when he can see that Zayden is wearing metal all around him.
I mean, also, if you stretch your sword that much, surely your balance is going to... Because it's going to be too long.
Yeah.
So you just tip over. It's going to be really heavy in your hand.
No, it's going to be like a spaghetti. Or I don't know if you can get like more quantity from one thing, or it's just the same like mass. And you can just manipulate that mass, but you can get more than that. I still don't know exactly how it works.
Interesting point. Interesting question.
Yeah.
But I still think it doesn't even matter. It possibly would go to spaghetti, but not like you'd have to be really far away for that to happen. The most likely thing to do it would like create a lever and your body would tip over.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going into too much detail. The science never works in a magic realm.
This is a deep dive, so we're just getting deep.
Okay. I feel like we spent a lot of time like proving things don't work in the series. It's not supposed to, it's magic.
Yeah.
I love this bit where Riddick says he's either madly in love with Zayden or, well, he says your boyfriend, doesn't he? Or completely terrified of him. And Kat says it's possible to be both. So that's a bit of a hint that Kat did believe she was in love with him, which is deep, isn't it? It wasn't just about a crown.
Yeah.
She did love him at first, by the sound of it.
Yeah, maybe she could see Zayden's intention about helping people, and with the action that he was doing, he's showing that he's actually a good guy. So maybe that was like one of the things that for her it started to like get invested in him, because for her he will be her husband, because they will be betrothed, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
That was like the big change for her.
Speaking from experience, it is quite easy to fall in love with Zayden.
Oh yeah, true.
Well, I wouldn't blame you. I think Zayden would be a good teacher. But I think there's a few times in these set of chapters where he would look completely incompetent when he's like half talking to the class and he's half having a conversation in his head. Imagine he'd be like a stuttering idiot. At one point he chokes on his own like tongue.
Yes, when Violet was giving like some
A mental blowjob. Yeah. It was, yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. He's like a good teacher, and you were able to see that from Fourth Wing, because he was literally the one who was showing to Violet what is the right way. Maybe it was just because the promise that he did to Lilith, or it's just because it's his character helping people that looking for help. But all the advice that he gave it to Violet, they were like really useful for her.
Yeah.
So, good for Professor Ryerson.
Good for Professor Ryerson, but I do think he might look a bit incompetent at times.
Yeah.
Like, pay attention.
So, between the people that we have here, so we have Fourth Wing, of course. We have as well First Wing with Caroline Ashton. And here we find out what was her signet. She's a water wielder. And I don't know, because she was such a good friend of Jack Barlow, I was kind of like expecting something, I don't know, better.
Were
more
you?
unique.
I think every single thing about Caroline Ashton is disappointing. I think she's just meh. She's supposed to be meh.
Well, the thing is, I'm not sure exactly what is her role in this story. Is she just kind of like a friend of Jack Barlow, so like alliance, or is somebody that Recallaro says little by little putting like some effort to create this character?
Well, she's still
it's
alive.
growing. Yeah.
The only time she will die is if she... This is a bold statement. Is if she becomes someone we truly hate, or someone that is redeeming herself. I just can't see her redeeming. I don't see the point in a redemption arc for Caroline Ashton. She's just so meh.
Yeah.
I could take it or leave her. She's a bit annoying, isn't she? But that it's like she's moderately annoying. She's not like Aura Binehaven, who's...
Oh, Amber maybe is there's a character that is there, that's annoying, and then eventually just die.
Like, I felt the same about Garrick's first signet. When I found out he was an air wielder, I was like, oh. He's not got two awesome signets like Zayden or Imogen.
Yeah. But he's a really powerful.
He's a really powerful air wielder, and I suspect he needed that to lift Zayden off the ground when he needs to stop him from channeling.
Yeah, maybe that was like the main reason to keep him close to Satan. So if I feel that temptation, he's just going to blow him away.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. Don't you think it's odd that you need to be touching the ground to channel the magic, but you don't need to be touching your dragon?
Yeah, I guess it works. It's kind of like
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I guess. We start to see that it's not just regular people who is facing Satan. Some members of the Iron Squad get beaten as well. Between it are Grey Dog, Rhiannon, Cat as well. And then Cat, it feels that she like more like defeat for some reason. And then we start to see here something that triggered is like chasing her. Because she feel like really disappointed that was beat by Satan. And then he says something like she shouldn't be feeling like that for a man that doesn't care about her when there's so many that they do.
Do you think Zayden had one of his daggers on him and she couldn't use it? I don't think he would do that.
I don't think he needed it because he can just block her out. She had a shield.
See, this is, for me, this was really weird. And I remember in Iron Flame, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we found out that shields didn't work against the flyers. That is why Violet needed the dagger. She could shield. She had pretty solid shields, but she could not shield against Cat. So why all of a sudden can you shield against flyers? Did I get that wrong? She needed the dagger.
I think as far as I can remember, it's like really difficult to block out a flyer. So it's not something that can be done for a first year or even a second year. So I think Satan just managed to like block her, but no lie, 100%.
I think it's a change. I'm going to go and investigate. I think it's a change.
Yeah. Plot hole here.
I feel like it might be. I have to whisper it.
Yeah, nobody's listening to us
anyway. So I was surprised by Rhiannon. Oh god, I'm obviously in a bad mood tonight because I'm complaining again. I feel like Rhiannon
could do better.
Could have. So she ends the fight. She basically puts her hands up because one of the shadows physically plucks the dagger from her hand and holds it at her throat. Why can she not just summon that back again to her hand? It's just a shadow.
Yeah,
she can summon it from anywhere. She could, every time a dagger gets against her throat, surely she can just summon, unless she was feeling burnt out. She'd done it too many times.
I'm not sure if she is being that close to Satan to see how his signet works.
You think she's just shocked?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
maybe She thought that the shadow were more like a shields or clouds that you're like covering and that kind of thing. Maybe she never thought they can physically interact like a hand or that kind of
that'll
stuff.
be it. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna call another plot.
Yeah, but I'm sure if she will like know what he can do, yeah, she will maybe just grab it again and try something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where I think we find out that Aaric is manifesting or has manifested.
Okay.
He says, and you're going to teach us to defeat you. And he emphasizes the you. The you is in italics. Why would that be emphasized if he did not think it was? So he's talking about teaching them to defeat Venin.
Mm-hmm.
And then Aaric says you. And I think Auric's seen him. I don't know how far his signet works in advance, but I think he's seen something to do with Xaden
Yeah.
being Venin at this point.
That you is just like a little bit suspicious that maybe he's saying more stuff than what is just on the page.
Yeah, and I said I'd be like I would really challenge myself to not believe he's manifested every time he opens his mouth. And I have in the past, like, kind of hit the things he says where he could have manifested, but I've tried to look at it from the perspective of what he is like as a person. We know he is super observant. We know that he is intelligent and very, very emotionally intelligent. He can pick up on people's feelings. Mm-hmm. But this time, I don't know, the fact that they're learning how to defeat Venin and the you is emphasized, I feel like this is where Aaric is starting. And there's so many hints or so many references in this chapter and the next one about how Aaric hasn't manifested yet. Aaric hasn't manifested yet. Let's hope Aaric doesn't self-combust. I feel like this is him manifesting.
Yeah.
He knows. He's cool as a cucumber. He's been doing it for a while, I think.
The funny thing is that we finished the book and officially it's not been said that he's precog, because we know about Violet. With all the stuff that he was telling her, it's obvious for her, and she say it, so we know because of Violet. But officially, there's nothing, and I was wondering as well: is it gonna be a problem for him? It could be as dangerous an intensic, because an intensic is somebody that can see your thoughts or can hear everything, the secret, but somebody with Aaric's power, somebody that can see the future, somebody that can control the future. So when the Melgrin was using his power to win the battles, we don't know exactly how much reach has Aaric's power, and he can do whatever because he's seen it and he can control the outcome. I don't know if leadership will feel threatened by this power.
I don't think so. So I think they would use him. He is very loyal to Navarre. I mean, they don't know who he is, but sorry, that's not correct. He's more loyal to Erasure, isn't he? He is very loyal to fighting against the Venin. Loads of people suspect that Aaric is the brother. I don't, because I don't think he's close enough to Xaden.
I've seen him struggling.
Yeah, exactly. But I do get it. I get the reasons why he would turn Venin if he knew that was the only way, because he'd seen the future or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Aaric, there was an epigraph in Iron Flame that said the day that Augustin Melgrin manifested his signet was the day that warfare changed for Navarre for good. Mm-hmm. I think this is more foreshadowing that Aaric, if there is an army, if we still have bonded riders by the end of this series, which we suspect we won't have, mm-hmm. that will be the sacrifice. Aaric would be the head of the army. He would not become king, although we want him to. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Something he says about Holden. He says Holden will be king, and he'll be a horrible one. I think that's him seeing the future. Mm-hmm. Perhaps eventually Aaric would be king. I just don't think he'd want it. I think it'd be more likely to want to lead the army.
Yeah.
But I suspect that we won't have any dragon riders by the end.
I think it would be awesome if I would start to see history repeating itself, and then Holden turns king. He's a really awful king. And then Seidan as a Venin is the one who goes to the palace, like hiding between the shadows.
Yeah, and kills the
and
king.
kill the king again, like
Yeah.
Darth Wilder.
Because I thought that he would go and do that with King Tauri, didn't I? Mm-hmm. I don't think he would hate Holden as much. Maybe he would.
Well, just wait a few chapters and see.
Yeah, but it's petty jealousy, isn't it? It's not like...
He's really possessive, and obviously for him, Violet is his. And when he trying to just come with his, charm.
Go for dinner.
Yeah.
Let's go for dinner. She's not got red
he
hair.
tried to
he
touch
only
her.
likes redheads. I saw a reel the other day. It was like directly addressing Rebecca Yarros, and it was like she was a redhead, and she was like, "I'm sorry, Rebecca, but what do you have against a redhead? Which redhead hurt you at some point in the past?" Because she was like, "The only redheads we know are like Aura Binehaven or Amber Mavis and the inventory professor that Holden cheated on her with." Like, she obviously has something against redheads, because the only redheads are bad characters.
Ones.
I was like, oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Now I'm annoyed. Yeah. The other one here just made me think of, because I think Violet says, she looks at Sloane and she wonders if Sloane has a second signet like the others. Mm-hmm. I think she does, but I don't think she will find it yet, because she's refusing to channel. She's refusing to take the power. Mm-hmm. I think thought her dragon told her for a reason.
Yes.
I think we will see it at some point. However, we haven't seen anyone go mad yet, have we?
So far, no. Every single one has developed a second signet. So we don't know if we will see that.
Or if it's even true. If it's just maybe something to... I suspect it's probably something to
prevent
deter...
riders, maybe. Not to bond for a dragon they know.
Well, I don't think the rider has anything to do with it. It's dragon only. So perhaps it's a big lie to deter dragons from doing it. Mm-hmm. Because why not? Why would you not do it if the only consequence was double signets?
Yeah.
There's got to be some kind of threat to not to do it, isn't there?
Yeah. So in this class, there's no exceptions, and Violet is the one who is called to fight next against Seidan. And Violet is like really confident. You see like this massive change. And she's the one who tells to Seidan, just do me a favor and don't let me hurt you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the TV adaptation, I want a massive lightning crack splitting the sky when she walks onto the mat. And she's like, don't let me hurt you. That'd be so good.
Yeah, that is the end of chapter 15.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move to chapter 16.
Yeah, this is the chapter that we got the sneak peek of on the blurb and the Brazilian leak, didn't we?
Yes, this is the one that I translated. It was in Portuguese and translated into English and sharing it. Everyone like, oh my god, it looks so awesome if it's true, because at this point we didn't know
if it was true.
And I think after we released the reel, next day, Rebecca Yarros released the English version.
Yeah, I think Brazil just did it too early, didn't they?
Yes.
So it was very different in the context of the whole book than it was when we read it. We did a bonus episode talking about it. I want to go back and listen to what we said, because we were probably wildly wrong. No, I think we did say we think he's teaching the cadets, didn't
we said that he's like training Violet, or he's training we thought it would be in Arisha, that maybe they are in Arisha and they're training to fight against the Venin.
Yeah.
Because now say that he will turn into a Venin, so we were thinking maybe this is in Arisha, because the description of the play, like we've never seen something like this in Basgaia, has to be Eurasia. I think that's the only thing that we were wrong.
Yeah.
But the rest, it was just a few words that were like different. But now that I'm reading the two books, English and Spanish, it's a massive difference, like how it's written, because obviously somebody has to translate it, and then that person put in maybe the writing style.
Yeah.
And then it
It's
doesn't feel.
interpretation, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
not
it doesn't feel like it's Rebecca Yarros talking. It feels there's somebody else that had no clue what this book about. And it's just like, I don't know. For me, I'm reading the Spanish version, and it doesn't cut me as much as it was the English. You just feel that, yeah, somebody's telling me the story, but I'm not living the story.
Yeah. Okay, that's sad.
Yeah.
So the epigraph for chapter 16. It's hereby suggested strongly that neither bonded dragon nor griffin shall be allowed to land or hunt in a 1 mile vicinity of the village of Shantara, in order to sustain the endeavours of our sheep herders through this surge of demand. Posted bulletin, village of Shantara, transcribed by Percival Fitzgibbons. Only 2 things to say about this epigraph. Like, it's a bit boring, but 2 criticisms, because I'm in a grumpy mood today. They clearly have no control over the dragons. It says it is strongly suggested. Like, what are they going to do? If a dragon wants to eat, a dragon wants to eat. Especially Andarna. She often wants to eat people's pets. And
pretty much everything they moves.
She wants to eat, yeah. If she's going to eat, she's going to eat. If she wants to eat, she's going to eat. Also, what is the point in posting this bulletin in Shantara? The rider will already have landed before they see it. Surely that has to be posted up as Gaia.
Yeah, I think maybe it's more like to make people from Shantara believe they're doing something about it, but actually there's nothing they can do. Like you say, if a dragon wants to eat, nobody's going to stop it.
Yeah.
You can tell it, no, you're not allowed to do that.
Imagine. I think they do follow rules, don't they? Because then they're allowed.
No, dragons don't respond to humans' laws or whatever.
Well, yeah, because Andarna asks for permission to hunt in the king's private forest, doesn't she? I mean, she's only joking, and I would like to think that she would just go and do it if she wanted to anyway. Yeah. But I do think I think Tan and Violet Tan and Andarna would reluctantly follow the rules that Violet said. But like others, you're just like, I've seen a sign, you're not allowed to eat here. It would make most of them want to go and eat there.
So we start the fight against Seidan. So Violet is in the math. Seidan, what he does is put everything black, so like a cloud in the mud, so she can't see anything. And then he's saying that she needs to use the bond. She needs to use everything that she has to find him. So for me, this is maybe just a little bit of foreshadowing what we're going to see in the next book. Maybe when he goes so deep and starts to do exactly the same trick, like putting not just the little place when they are, maybe the whole area, like he did in the end. Then she's going to use this to find him.
I think she's going to be able to communicate with him by mind walking.
Well, first she needs to do it during dreams, because it has a process. Yeah. Right now it's doing it on dreams.
Yeah, I think that's what she's going to do.
So probably they're going to spend the night together, but on dreams.
With Berwin, with their new BFF.
Berwin watching from the distance, having popcorn.
I think it's cool here that she has to distinguish between, and I was being silly in the squad brief, but she has to determine which shadows are his shadows, because they're always the strongest ones. So if he casts a shadow, that's the one that's going to be the strongest. If it's something else over there that's causing a shadow, it's less strong. So she can sift through the shadows to feel the stronger one, and that's where she knows he is, because that shadow's attached to him. Yeah. It's clever.
Then what she does as well is that she uses a conduit to create some light inside. So we see this now like antagonist. There's light against darkness.
Yeah.
And Seidan is still just kind of like playing with her a little bit, kiss her on the neck, and then just hiding again. and he's just telling her like, you need to strike, you need to make sure that people just start to think they're easy on you. And they start to kiss, they release lightning, when she releases lightning, and everyone is just like, wow. Maybe not many people have seen actually Violet well done. And that's pretty much the end of the class, because then he's just walking away.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about Harry Potter again.
Well, Harry
You
Potter.
know, this gives me Triwizard Tournament vibes. The second and the third task, where like there's an audience and everyone's really excited to see it, and they just see darkness.
Can't see anything.
They'd be really disappointed. I would like to see like a Rhiannon POV.
Yeah.
That's exactly Caroline Ashton's like dancing. This is exactly what I want to see. She's like on her tiptoes. You're not going to see anything, mate.
Nothing.
No.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe once she started to put in like this light, maybe people from outside could see something, silhouettes or something. But probably the light won't go too far from inside.
Yeah.
This moment is finished with Satan walking away, and Violet's asking him why he's teaching these kind of things, that why her. And then when Satan says, because you are the only one capable to kill me.
Yeah. There's a lot of worry in this chapter.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, but no. I think she's just trolling us. I don't think Violet's going to kill Xaden, is she? Let's face it. It's a romance book.
Yeah, has to be like something really bad. It has to be Satan or Navarre or Aracia, like all the people. There's like
Yeah,
literally
everyone dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So she has to do it, and then she just get destroyed, and then she kills herself, and it's like Romeo and Juliet, new story.
No, I just don't see that. I just don't see it happening. I just think they're going to be together. I just don't think they'll have magic at the end. I'm not worried, and this is a good, because I'm quite happy. I'm blissfully like saying it's all going to be okay. I know that we're going to get upset. It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
It's going to be sad, but ultimately, I think there'll be a good ending. If you look at all her other books.
Yeah, but the other books are romance, proper romance. This one is fantasy,
It's romantasy. Yeah, but she said there is no book without Xaden. She said there is no story without Violet and Xaden.
Yeah, so maybe he dies in the last book, and that's why they're just 5.
No. I'm not worried about it. And don't make me worry about it, because we've got years to wait. So I'm quite happy sitting here thinking it's all going to be okay. Don't ruin it. There was just one more part that I liked of this fight where, again, clever writing. She said, easy is the exact opposite of what I want from you. She doesn't mean she wants things to be difficult. She means she wants him to be hard.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So, it's the weekend. They're going to Chantara, as she said to Sheridan. Sawyer is there. Now it's like feeling happy.
Yeah, this is the first time they've been, right? But the first time she's been, because she kept pieing them off when she had to.
Yes, I think this is maybe the first time basically the whole squad are together.
Yeah. Violet always had to be with Xaden.
Yeah, and she was avoiding an Iron Flame, so it was all the time with Imogen.
Yeah.
So they're just having a good time, but the topic is Xaden. They just can't believe how powerful he is with those shadows. And yeah, there's some comments, Kat as well. He could be something like really a scary guy, and Violet said like, well, I've never been scared of him, more like for him.
I like the name of the pub, 6 Talons. I had a feeling it was something to do with the first 6. I know that dragons have more than one talon, but I think it's a nod to the first 6.
Yeah.
She's thinking about the conversation, or she's thinking about the fight with Xaden, and the fact it comes back again to the fact that she's going to have to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, the normally sweet drink tastes bitter in my mouth. And I was like, oh God, somebody's poisoned her. The first time I read it, I was like, this is poison. No, it's the signet blocking thing, because that's bitter. But it wasn't. It was a false alarm, guys. It was fine.
There's a problem with Rebecca Yarrow's writing. Sometimes it's like you don't know when it's literally, and sometimes when it's just something.
An emotional response.
Yeah. And this part is when Ri said that she's really concerned about the cadets. They haven't manifest sickness yet, like Aaric or Lynx. So she said it's not that stage when they need to be like really concerned, but still like they're like the ones that at the moment haven't manifested anything yet. But my question at this point was like, is it that maybe true? Because maybe with, like you said, with Aaric, maybe we start to see some stuff.
Lynx definitely hasn't, because we get that on the page. We see him manifest and freak out.
Yeah.
I wonder with Lynx if magic hasn't quite decided if Xaden's going to go deeper yet. And the point at which magic decides is when Lynx will be able to manifest, because it's waiting. I think magic's on the fence. And then when it happens, that's when it knows that Xaden is going to go deeper. He's going to go deeper in before he can come back out.
Yeah.
With Aaric, yeah, it's just a bit... It's too many sus mentions of first years not manifesting. I think we're supposed to be, on the reread, you're supposed to be thinking, yeah, Aaric has. And we're not worried about him. It seems like flyers don't spontaneously combust if they can't manifest a gift.
I think it all depends on how much power they get, and I don't think they will get the same power as the dragon does.
Yeah.
During the topics, this place, once the flyers are talking with the riders as well, they're talking about the gods as well, and they say that they see there's just like a massive difference with two of them, and they are Malik and Dawn, and those are the ones that we're constantly like thinking that maybe are the ones that
Are linked
given
to
power or
Violet.
linked, yes. So I'm not sure if maybe this is just like a reference that Rebecca put there to just like start to pull things together.
Yeah.
It's a reason for everything.
Yeah, but there is a reason on the page for it as well, that people in Navarre, people favour the god of death and the god of war because they go hand in hand together. You don't have war without death. But I do, yeah, I think it's a big hint that they're linked to Violet in some way.
So we had a few references here. I think it's Trigger, the one who asked if the scribes pray for hidden, for wisdom. And then when Violet said no, scribes are like really careful about not praying for something they know they has to be earned. And then Redog is the one who said as well his favorite is Sanal, because you can go through everything just with luck. And I was thinking, that we always saying that, Redog is gonna be next because he's getting like such an importance in the group and more in this book. That we haven't seen it yet, but yes, he's gonna be. There's a difference here. And we are thinking that he's gonna die because in Iron Flame he nearly died, and when he was like joining the squad quest,
The chef nearly killed him, yeah.
Yes, so
He's lucky, and he got a kiss.
Yeah.
He got a kiss on Zelna.
So I was thinking, we are concerned about him, but maybe he's gonna be one of the few that are actually gonna make it because he's gonna be really lucky.
Yeah, I tend to get the feeling though that she's just like building him up so we love him, and then he's gonna die. Yeah. Same with Dain. She's gonna build him. She's building him up. She's building him up. She's building him up. He's gonna sacrifice himself to save Xaden.
I still a little bit like not 100% about Dain. So
I am dying on the hill that he is going to kill Kath to save Xaden, and he will end up having to die.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something. He's got a lot of power, hasn't he? Scribe's not praying to Helion, praying for something that you have to earn. It's a kind of a link to when we meet Xaden's mom, where they are probably praying and they're not earning it, and Helion seems to not actually favour those who pray to him. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because for those one knowledge they had to find by themselves that you can ask or something.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if I was getting mixed up with something in Quicksilver. It's not a spoiler, but we find out that Lilith was not temple-minded. I think this is a direct result of Daddy Sorengale having pissed her off a lot by trying to dedicate Violet. So I think she also is probably aware of Theophany's connection to Dune at that point, and it's like she won't visit the Temple of Dune because of Theophany. We find out Violet's preferences here as well. So Violet preferred to spend time in the Temple of Amari. I feel like Amari is the queen of the gods, isn't she?
Yeah.
I feel like there's some kind of tie to Andarna here between Amari and Andarna. I don't know why. There's definitely a connection to Rhi because Rhiannon looks like Amari. And Malak, we find out that Violet spent a lot of time in the Temple of Malak when her dad died, but she just screamed at him. She just yelled at him the whole time. I don't know. We feel like Malak is bad because you always think the god of death is bad.
Yeah.
But is he? Like, they all commend their souls to him. You say when you meet Malak, they mustn't be. Yeah, obviously death is scary, but they mustn't be scared that they're going to hell or anything. Doesn't feel like he's a devil type character, does he?
No, from what I can understand, he's just like the one who tears the soul, and then I don't know if here there's a heaven or hell, and then he decides where to put it, or if he's just collecting the souls for himself, and then what? There's not like that much explanation, like what they do after they die, or what they believe.
I'll do some research about different types of gods of death around different cultures and see if we can draw any.
I think this one is more like from the Greek mythology, Hades. There's just the one who, when somebody died, every single one passed through.
Yeah, they float around in a pool. All I know, I'm sorry, I'm not very good at this. All I know about Greek mythology though is Hercules.
And because they're Disney movie.
Yeah. And Hades is bad. So again, I don't feel like Malak is either good or bad. I think he's just guardian of death.
Yeah. I mean, in the movie, he's put as the bad guy. But if you actually see what he does, the only thing he does is just collecting the souls.
Oh, okay, sorry. That will be the last time I base my mythology knowledge on a Disney movie then. I'll do some research. I'll come back. I'll do my homework. I won't criticise Violet for not doing her. I can't criticise Violet for not doing hers.
When you're not doing it.
Yeah. Oh, and as part of this, we basically can assume that she has no pull to the Temple of Dune. She doesn't feel the need to go because the dedication wasn't
complete.
Yeah. You can tell here on the reread when you find out that that's why her hair is silver. She clearly had no need to be in the temple. So this part made me question why Daddy Sorengale was so keen to dedicate her to Dune, particularly if he knew that Theophany was a former priestess. Like, you would feel like maybe it's my first thought was he didn't have the confidence that Lilith could do it, but they could train Violet up so she could take on Theophany. But that's not the case because he never wanted her to be a rider. So there's several things that I'm like, was it this? No, it doesn't make sense. Was it this? No, it doesn't. We just don't have the information yet. But I do wonder if I keep coming back to the fact that I feel like there was some kind of prophecy about the Sorengale children, the 3 siblings, brothers, and Daddy Sorengale was doing everything he could to prevent it. There's the epigraph in the next chapter which talks about failing Brennan the day he crossed the parapet, failing Mira when he couldn't stop her from doing the same thing. I will not fail, and I feel like my death will fail you, or whatever. There's some kind of prophecy that said the Sorengales all 3 would become riders, and Daddy Sorengale seemed to be trying everything to prevent it. he thought that Violet would be forced into the Riders Quadrant, so instead he dedicated her to Dune. But he did it as a baby, so at that point, Brennan and Mira, their paths must have already been chosen as riders. I don't know. There's something. It does feel like he was deliberately going against Lilith's wishes. And I wonder at this point whether he even trusted Lilith. Because it said they don't trust anyone. How long did it... Did Lilith keep the secret from Daddy Sorengale that Venin existed, that Theophany existed? Because she had to. He got annoyed with her, didn't trust her, and then it took a while. But they were still having babies. So I don't know. It's too many unknowns.
Yeah, for me, the only thing that I'm not sure is if, the issue that Violet has, that she was born this way because...
With EDS.
Yes, the official version is the her mother, when she was pregnant, she had like a big fever.
Virus,
she was
fever.
like really poorly, nearly died. And that's why she is like this. So I don't know if it's gonna be in the end something natural that happened, or if there's a Venin influence somewhere, and that could be like the trigger for Daddy Sorengale trying to do something to maybe save or protect
He thought
Violet.
maybe dedicating her would protect her or would save her. Yeah.
The other thing that I'm not sure about is about this prophecy, because as far as I can remember, it's a little bit weird, because I remember that in Fort Wayne they were talking about like the three brothers. The one was like with, I think, one with the dragon, one with the griffon, and the other one turns Venin. And then the next time that we heard about this prophecy again, it's like one of the brothers command the sky. So who was the one who command the sky if we had already put in like dragon's griffon Venin? Who is the third one who is commanding the sky to release all the power?
The dragon. Because that's when dragons were supposed to be commanding the sky. I don't know. Yeah, we need to... I've got so much homework to do. Let's do that. We should have done it before the episode. I'm sure people will have thoughts and they will correct us. The reason I think there is a prophecy, and we called on this last week, is that Jacinia was being totally sarcastic. She was like, oh yeah, I found a prophecy, and it was all like Violet was going to do this, and I just feel like that's coming back. Unless it's Rebecca trolling us again.
So going back to the place when everyone is having drinks and having a good time, Dain goes to find Violet. He needs a word with her in private, and then he's the one who tells her that he had been had a look to the security of his father's office, and there's no way that he can go there with her, because then they would find out. So the only way is him going by himself, grabbing the research and just bringing it to her. But then she needs to trust him that he's going to do it for her. And then she like thinking about it.
You either trust me or you don't.
Yes. So that, oh gosh, like I really want to believe 100% Dain is good, but my other side is just like, okay. So this is the thing. King Tauri has a ward that only the bloodline can go there. So that's how Aaric went there with Violet. Are you telling me that General Eidos has a better war than King Tauri? And
You can't pull somebody in.
yeah, that's the thing that for me, first thing, is weird. Like, if you can go in the King Tauri ball, how you can't go to a general office? So I find it like, is it that true? Because it's Dain telling us this. So what's the point? So he can be like alone with the research, and then he starts to get information that he
But
needs.
he realised that he couldn't, so he had to give it to Violet
Yeah,
because he couldn't open it.
yeah.
Oh no, don't make me suspect Dain again. The other question I had was there nothing else in this secret vault? Just that one book?
No, I think it was just the research they were looking for. Oh, they was there.
That's what it says.
Yeah.
But I wonder if there's anything else.
A letter or something.
Well, there was already a letter, but anything of Violet's mom, anything of Lilith, did she know about that the research was there? I think she did, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really good point about the family wards. It is a really good point. Perhaps I'm gonna play devil's advocate here against you.
Okay.
Perhaps he just wanted to know if Violet trusted him. Perhaps he was testing her.
Yeah, could be. But again, like I say, I really want to believe that there's nothing sus
He's
around.
good. He's good.
Mm.
I think Kath is bad. That is why he's gonna have to kill Kath. Wouldn't it? It just makes for such a interesting storyline if you've got good rider, bad dragon, bad rider, good dragon. What happens?
Yeah.
I would love to explore that, and I think Dain is the key to that.
I mean, it would be great if Dan is going to like sacrifice himself, kill his own dragon, and then when he has just like minutes to die, Andarna comes along and breaks the bond, and then he doesn't die.
Oh my gosh, she could do that. She could do that with anyone.
Yeah.
Oh, she could have done that with Leo.
True. She didn't know. She wasn't there neither. I mean, around.
She was hiding. Chapter 17.
Epigraph.
My brightest light, I meant to prepare you, but only had time for half the lessons you need. Half the history, half the truth. And now time runs short. I failed Brennan the day I watched him walk the parapet. Failed Mira when I could not stop her from following. But I fear my death will fail you. Your mother and I trust no one, and neither should you, or neither can you. Recovered correspondence of Lieutenant Colonel Asher Soaringale to Violet Soaringale.
So, here's when we finally can put a name to Daddy Sorangel.
Yes.
Asher.
Yes. Asher Daxton.
Yes.
Although Rebecca's confirmed that's a different person. We were wrong.
Maybe father, I guess.
Feels weird though. Why is it not the same person?
I mean, there was a General Sorangel, Lieutenant Sorangel, Cadet Sorangel.
Yeah, because they're different.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe there will be a Colonel that's that maybe senior.
Yeah, a dad.
Yeah.
Or an older brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. I feel like this is a bit of a burn on Mira. Violet, my brightest light. And Mira does get offended, doesn't she? She's like, oh, he doesn't trust me. Obviously he doesn't, Mira. You were your mum's daughter.
She's more physical.
Yeah.
More like
yeah.
reacting more than thinking
Yeah.
or being proactive.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy Sorangale knew he was about to be executed.
Well, he knew he will die, but is it because in the end, yes, he had maybe like
They're on to me.
yeah.
Paranoid.
Well, officially, it was just the heart they give up, but maybe he was poorly. He
You
knew
don't
it.
know that's going to happen, do you? You don't know your heart's going to give up.
He was having problems. I'm just saying, like, what is the official version? That after
I think he
Brennan's
got
death, he
poisoned.
started to.
I think he was having problems because he got poisoned the first time and he managed to survive it. And then he was like, shit, they're after me. I'm running out of time. I've only done half what I need to do. I've only done half what I need to do. Blah, 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 blah. You got half the truth, half the whatever else he said. But he knew that. I think this is concrete evidence that he knew he was going to
That he will
die.
die, yeah.
And time was running out and he couldn't trust anyone. These are the words of a desperate man. Also, this is where we get confirmation where it seems like he didn't want Brennan and Mira to be riders.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I think he knew that dragons were bad.
Mm-hmm.
What about Aimsa though?
Yeah, it's weird because obviously, if at the password that he's gonna put there is like the first love, and he's thinking about Lilith, like first, like bond or
Yeah,
love.
but that's why it was, I guess so tough for her.
Mm-hmm.
Was Aimsa working on something from the inside as well?
Maybe.
Yeah, there's just a weird bit about Brennan and Mira because he'd previously, in a flashback that Violet had, or a dream, she was in a dream, wasn't she? And this was the night that Amber Mavis had let Oren and the other cadets in to kill her just after threshing. She said, why can't I be a rider? And she said, Brennan and Mira are born to be riders, blah, blah, blah. You weren't. You were born to be a scribe. This is at odds with that, because it's like he did not stop Brennan, and then a year later, or 2 years later, he failed to stop Mira from following. It's different, and this is the bit where I think he knew that dragons were bad.
Yeah.
They trust nobody at all as well. Later he says trust only Mira. So they trust nobody except Mira. My question is, this triggered a question as well. Why would Lilith capture Fen if she knew he was telling the truth? And that all becomes very, very weird. Because now we know that Lilith knew from the age of 22.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't just find out when the rebellion happened.
Well, it's because in the end she's a soldier and she was following orders really from King. So
No,
then Ryerson is trying to replace the King, and the King army went there to stop him.
I don't think it's that. I think it's that she genuinely believed that Fen Ryerson killed Brennan. Because we've got the scribe report that says Fen shot an arrow and it hit Brennan in the chest. So I think it's got to be that. You know that she really cares about her kids. She's got a funny way of showing it, but she does. We can only trust Rebecca. Oh, again.
There's so many things that we don't know about it, because yes, he shot an arrow to Brennan, Nerlin tried to bring it back, he sacrificed himself, and then Dain did something that was what makes the difference in that war. And we still don't know what was that or how it happened.
Dain knows so much. He's just not telling us.
Yes, Rebecca Yarros, we need a Fenrir's on POV as well.
We need a 10 POV. 10 has all the answers.
We saw this chapter with a death roll. There's some people that just die because accidents. We don't see that the cadets are killing each other anymore. Here we see Sloane finally getting close to Violet. They talk about everything that happened with Lilith. Violet said that was her choice. There's not Sloane's fault. And then she given as well something, and that is Sorengel research that
Yeah,
they managed
finally.
to give in. Yes. So we finally had that.
Yeah. I just want to mention the massive theories flying around that Dain and Sloane are going to get together. He obviously has Jacinia as the middleman here. Middle person. Here. Because he gives it to Jacinia, Jacinia gives it to Sloane. But the two are linked. There's the big moment at the end. I do think there's going to be some romantic interest between Dain and Sloane.
You think?
Yeah.
Not sure.
It would be awkward because he was the cause of her brother's death. She
Yeah,
would be
exactly.
fighting it. She'd be fighting it, but she couldn't fight it anymore. He's like eyes here. The bit at the end, the bit where she's saving Mira's life. That is like Dain and Sloane have something there.
Maybe when we go to that part, we start to see more details.
Yeah, he wouldn't act on it immediately. Unless maybe that's the thing. Maybe Sloane is going to be the person that makes him act on it. I was talking to Pam the other day, and she was saying that everyone's got it in their head that Dain liked Violet, but she really does not think that Dain ever liked Violet. Maybe when they were kids, but they were just childhood friends. And maybe he did feel the same as she did, a bit like kissing your cousin. Well, she didn't really. She looked like that. Xaden says she looked like she just kissed a cousin. But maybe he didn't feel that towards her, but he didn't want to hurt her feelings. Or he'd read, I think Pam was saying that she thinks that he'd read her memories, thought she wasn't him, because at that point she thought she was. And so he acted on it because he thought that's what she wanted. But then when he kissed her, that he didn't feel it either. And he used the codex as the excuse. Yeah. And he was like, maybe eventually, maybe later. But it wasn't enough for him to break the rules. But Sloane is going to be enough. Because she shouldn't be fraternizing within her line of command. He shouldn't be fraternizing within his. But it'll be a test, won't it, to see whether she's worth it. Read that bit again. Read the bit again where you will get to it, won't we? But where
I have fresh for win because I'm reading in Spanish, and I had to give it at the beginning was really Violet, the one who was like all over Dain.
Yeah.
And she was like really sassy with him, and he was like trying to be nice, but she was like the one who was like trying to give an idea.
Yeah, she was, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was like really like trying to get something from him, and he was just like being nice and being like.
You haven't lost your like sense of humor. Yeah.
Yeah, thing like that. And then yes, after thrashing when he kissed her, yes, he does. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but we can't have anything else. Like this is like maybe the maximum they will get. And that's it. He was like, I'm really sorry, but I need to focus now on my stuff.
Yeah, she's totally right. But we've just like got it into our heads that Dain liked Violet because of the kiss. And actually, yeah, I think Pam's right there that it was the other way around. They've got the death roll, but Major Devara has stopped people from killing people. You're not allowed to kill people anymore. I would imagine that Daddy Atos is not that happy with that because he can't continue his assassination attempts within Basgayath. Because I think he is determined to get Violet killed.
I mean, he's trying to turn that into places as well where they can go there and find Venin.
Rufad Shana fell from his seat during manoeuvres. It's a big shock. It was an accident. I sound like a broken record in this set of chapters, but I think there's some more evidence that Aaric is seeing the future. I think this will be an incredibly difficult signet to have because he says something like he fell from his seat and Haim, the dragon, couldn't catch him because of the bad weather, couldn't see to catch him in the snow. And then it says Aaric, according to tail section. But he added that last bit on and it feels like an afterthought. It's like he's trying to justify why he should know. I think he knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, maybe saw it.
Before it happened.
Yeah.
And what do you do in that situation? You're not sure if your signet is legal, possibly. He's maybe frightened of it. Aaric kind of seems like pretty chill about everything. I don't think he's frightened of it. I think he just doesn't quite want to tell anybody. I think he wants to keep it as a classified so that he can use it possibly to his advantage. This is like that woman that could smell Parkinson's disease on people. And she was always right. Like even if they hadn't been diagnosed yet, she could smell it. And she took the kind of moral decision to not tell people, but she would work with scientists to try and find better ways of detecting the disease. She said it wasn't morally right to tell somebody something that they hadn't asked for, and she wasn't a doctor. She could just smell the changes in the sweat or something. And this is a real life story if anyone wants to read up on it. It's fascinating. This woman, I can't remember her name, and this is how I feel like Aaric's signet would be, because you would see bad things happening. Do you intervene or not? He could have told Rifa Chana not to get on that dragon that day. Would he have believed him? Maybe not. Is it Aaric's job to interfere with Malik? Is there some kind of fear of Malik at that point? Like keeping souls? I don't know. But I do think that this is another hint that Aaric is seeing stuff. And just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about how difficult that... It's an awesome signet. He's really, really powerful.
Yeah, but that's precisely what I was saying, that it would be like really dangerous as well, because if he can see it, he had the power to change it if he wants. That's just like point of view if he wants to do it, because just one little thing could change a lot of stuff. I think like in the First World War, there was just the assassination of a prince. They make everything happen. If somebody like Aaric said like, no, this is going to happen this day, this is how we're going to prevent it, then a whole world war, it will be avoided.
Yeah.
So, and this continent story, I don't know how.
But then
it's gonna
something
manage.
positive that might have happened after that would have been completely different as well. Like, you change everything, don't you?
Yeah.
But I'm not saying, like, if somebody had the chance to go and change a war, I feel like they should do it. You don't know what the negative consequences are, but you know that the negative consequences are a world war.
Yeah.
They should absolutely go and stop that from happening.
It's a little bit like, the Hitler paradox. That if you had like a time machine, you go travel in time and then you kill Hitler because you don't want like Second World War to happen. If you do that, then you eliminate the reason that you're going back on time, and then you don't go back in time because there's no reason to go back in time.
Yeah.
And then Hitler is born anyway because it's a paradox.
Oh, yeah, but you've got to try. You've got to try break the paradox. The time travel stuff in books it blows my mind. Again, like Harry Potter 3, I have to think about it. And I've read it a million times. That's an exaggeration. I've read it a lot of times. But this is the thing for me with Aaric and the tomb and the temple at the end. He tells Violet she has to go to the temple. But because he's seen her in the temple, she would have gone to the temple anyway, right? Because he's seen it happen.
Yeah.
Unless he's getting visions. It's not precognition he's getting intervention. So he's got to make an intervention, otherwise something doesn't happen. But otherwise, like, if he's seen it happen, so he can put himself in the right place. But if it was going to happen, wouldn't he be in the right place anyway? Someone explain it to me. I can't. We find out that the Red Dragon's original hatching ground was near the Dunes River and that is hot there. And that is outside of Navarre. So this is absolute confirmation now that dragons came from all over the continent, not just within the borders of Navarre. So the Red Dragons moved very far. The Dunes River is on the border between Pormil and the Barrens. This means, and they talk about how Andarna doesn't like the cold. I really think that, and we said this before Onyx Storm, that the Irids originally came from the Barrens. And I think this is a sign again that the Red Dragons, like the heat, they came from the Dunes River, they're from around the continent. Why wouldn't the Irids also be from the continent? And why couldn't they be from the Barrens? And that's why I said that earlier in this episode even. But yeah, I think this is another bit of evidence. Although you could say that Andarna should like the heat because of how she's grown up. Like, she's grown up in the Vale, it's warmer there, but it can be really cold in Navarre because it snows a lot, doesn't it?
Definitely there's some reference about each color has a preference. Because I think Sagel is another one that she doesn't like cold.
Yeah, I think we find out that the blue dragons are from down near Corden, don't we?
Yeah.
And I think we can assume that the brown dragons are from Lucerys because they really like the cold. And we know that Lucerys is really cold because when Mira comes back from visiting Granny Daxton, she said it was really cold there.
Yeah.
So I think we can infer that brown dragons are from Lucerys. Blue dragons are from Corden. We know red dragons are from the border between the Barrens and the and Pormil. So the only place we haven't got, and black dragons are from Tyrrendor, the only place we haven't got dragons from yet.
The Barrens.
Yeah, we know that the oranges are from the Esben Mountains between Navarre and Pormil. That's all of them. Our green are from Basgaia, from Navarre.
Yeah.
That's all of them. That would mean you don't have any coming from the Barrens. And why did they leave?
Right, so we finally had the research, but it has a password. This password has 6 letters, and if you put the wrong one, then they have like 6 vessels all around the book. It will split ink and all the research will destroy everything.
It's like those security tags on clothes. Sometimes they have ink in.
Yeah, like really secure. Make sure that it's not going in the wrong hands. But the thing that blew my mind in this one is there's a rune as well. And I was like, wow, he was a scribe. How he managed to put like a rune in that book? Do he like?
That's a really good question.
Obviously, he need to find a writer or somebody that had magic to put
Must
a
have been
rune.
Lilith. She's the only one he could trust.
Yeah, but we didn't have any reference about Lily knowing about runes, innit?
Yeah,
Because
but
it was just like
Daxton
a Tyrande
did.
thing.
I think they would have learnt together.
So for me, like first, like how he learned it,
That's such a good question. I didn't even think of that, but it's got to be Lilith, hasn't it?
is it?
What's your best guess then?
I don't know. I can't answer to that because I think it's maybe something or somebody that we haven't seen yet.
Nah, it's Lilith. It's got to be.
No, because you just focus on the thing that we know now, but that doesn't mean that
He literally said he
from
can't
outside.
trust anyone else. I don't think he would have shown his research to anybody else.
It's not showing the research. It's finding somebody to lock the
Somebody
the
that he
research.
trusts enough to not ask questions what it is, tell everybody that they've done it. It's Lilith. Sorry.
Nah, no agree.
Such a good question though.
But yeah, the clue for this password is the first love is irreplaceable.
Yes. Violet does say she definitely needs to spend more time learning runes. Comes back to two things that we did not find out in this book. We found out an awful lot of stuff. But one, the rune on Brennan's hand. It gets mentioned in the mirror bit, doesn't it? But it doesn't get mentioned. But that's it. We don't get a resolution to it.
Yeah.
Also, the daggers, Zayden's daggers that he made for Violet. We don't find out what all of those did either.
So she takes all the information to the squad and start to like thinking about it. Like the first love, well, it has to be Lilith, but it would be like too obvious. So
Well,
that
that's
must be
what
wrong.
Riddick says it has to be Lilith. Violet doesn't. Violet knows it's not, doesn't she?
Yeah, and then other clues like maybe Brennan first love, and they were like, no, that it can't be.
That has 6 letters, though.
I was thinking about it, but there's some mention as well that Mira says that she said that he was in a relationship with a writer that was 1 or 2 years older than him. And I was like, oh, this one has to be Nolan. So Nolan was older than him.
It could have been Nailin. It's got to be, hasn't it? Because we have had the hints from Arachiaris that it is.
Yeah.
The weird thing for that, though, 10 is 100 years old. He only first bonded like a few years ago.
Yeah.
No more than 10 years ago. Weird, that. What was he doing for the other 90 years?
Yeah, the second bigger dragon on the continent, one of the most powerful.
Refused to bond.
Yeah.
Why?
And why Nolan? Because with Violet, he knows something about Violet. Because that's the thing that he said. I know exactly who and what you are. But what about Nolan? Why making it go like for Ryder?
The god.
Yeah, he knew they would
Nolan
be
is
featuring
Malek.
Malek. There you go.
Violet's gonna be a goddess at some point. Yeah. What was Tarn doing? Just chilling out in the Vale for 90 years. Didn't trust humans.
Yeah.
Because it would have made sense if his previous rider turned Venin and then for years and years and years and years he didn't bond because he didn't trust humans. That seems to be what happened to Sigale, possibly. We don't know that, but
Yeah.
it took her 50 years to re-bond. So we know at least 50 of those years Sigale and Tarn were just... Well, maybe they weren't chilling out. Maybe they were fighting. They just weren't bonded to riders.
Yeah. They were just fighting against who? Because they're in the Vale. Van and a Wyvern they can go in. So what they were doing? Just they're like watching if somebody comes.
Flying out. They didn't necessarily stay. Oh yeah, they said they didn't see him outside the Vale. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
What was he doing? Looking after the egg. Guarding Andarna's egg.
Yeah, for 100 years.
Maybe. When they're trying to guess the first love when Aaric says Holden fits. Well, basically
Well,
it
he
fits.
didn't say, but yeah.
Yeah. Violet says something like, my father hated the first person, Holden, and he'd never met the second.
Yeah.
Rebecca Yarros has confirmed that we have not yet met the
second one.
Yeah, so it's not like, well, it's an infantry person that because we guessed Holden, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was a bit obvious. But we don't know the second one yet. I think we'll meet him.
If we will meet him.
I think we'll meet him.
It's going to be a scribe, isn't it? Maybe.
Yeah, well...
Because she is half rider, half scribe, so, well...
He's infantry.
But still, like, fighting side. So
I don't know, I think there was a hint that it was infantry all along. But scribe... Then there was a who do scribes go for? And she was like, other scribes. So, yeah, but it would have to be a scribe that Daddy Sorrengail didn't know, because she says he'd never met him. So it must have been a scribe that had started after he died, and he died only 12 months ago. So
yeah,
that's a bit... I don't know. I don't think it's a scribe.
Well, no, because she was preparing for being a scribe, and she will spend a lot of time. She spent a lot of time with Yesenia, so there will be like other people around.
And then Mira's first love... Mira's first love's going to be Drake. Or Broccoli.
Yeah, definitely Broccoli. We need to still waiting for Drake. So we're back to Signal Sparring with Professor Ryerson. And now we have Garrick there as well. But Violet decided he's going to play with the professor. So they start to have like some sexy time mentally. And she's just like trying to distract the professor.
Yeah, this is where he really comes across as incompetent. Like, he's spluttering around. Garrick gives him the side eyes. Like, what is going on with you? You okay, mate? Like,
yeah, it's a little bit like Harry Potter the movie when Harry like drinking water.
he just dribbles it down. Yeah. One of the instances where the movie might be better than the book. Only one.
Just because that.
When Harry like dribbles his water.
So then let's do the introduction. Then when we find out that Garrick is Air Wielder, just a really powerful one. But they're still like playing, and then it's Violet the one who wins, like you said. So then even we're like kind of like choking with all the stuff that she was saying to him. And then when he said again that she's gonna be the death of him.
Yeah.
And even here, Violet is the one who said that I'm gonna try not to think about it, that how can be interpreted.
Yeah.
So I was thinking this could be just Violet because of the situation that she's going through, or it's just Rebecca Yarros after so many like time the people asking, and then she like, I'm just gonna put this here.
Yeah, she's trolling us. I've said that so many times this episode.
Yeah.
Garrick and Imogen. Garrick's there. Riddick's like, Imogen's gonna love this training session. That means it's common knowledge. Everyone knows. And so they're so obvious about it. Garrick is playing back. Like, he hasn't been... He was still sleeping around with other people. Mm-hmm. Or whether they're just playing the long game. What are they waiting for? He, like, crooks his fingers. He's like, come on then.
Yeah.
And then there's some jokes about him saying to her, go on, put your hands on me. And then he, like, smiles and he's got a dimple. There's something going on between Garrick and Imogen, but they're not acting on it. Or they are acting on it, but only. It's a slow burn.
Yeah, I think we talked about this last episode. That for me, maybe it's just Garrick, the one who doesn't want to just go serious in a relationship. That he knows that Imogen is after him. Maybe he likes Imogen as well.
But you can tell from this he does.
Yes, exactly. But he is just like, no, I'm not ready to highlight something serious. And just... too young. I just want to enjoy myself before think about something serious.
Maybe just enjoy yourself with Imogen and then see if it happens.
The Anus Squad go against Garrick. They had a plan, they executed perfectly, and basically they win. And they just win just in time to have them be there and appear.
Yeah,
for
clapping.
the very first time. Yes.
And he gets like a fanfare, like all rise for the Prince of Prince of Navarre. This reminds me of when Prince Charles went to the cinema to see Gladiator 2. Do you remember? For those that don't know, it's not Prince Charles, it was King Charles. King Charles went to the cinema to watch Gladiator 2. Could he not just get a copy to watch in his own palace? Anyway, he went to the cinema, and rather than just like sneak in the back door, watch it, he had like 10 beefeaters march down the steps and be like, ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for the King of England. And then they're like, God save our gracious Queen. I got the national anthem wrong. And everyone was like, there's loads of TikTok videos where everyone's like looking around, being like, I didn't come for this. I don't know what's going on.
It's a joke.
Yeah. And the king like acknowledges it like he's a little bit embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like he didn't arrange that to happen. Like he had no power to stop that from happening.
Yeah, I love it because it's just like, just like one or regular people.
Yeah, just one of you going to
just
the
in
cinema.
order to attend the theater there and just...
I'd totally do it if I was the king of
I'm
England.
totally humble person, so
Yeah.
forget about
No photos. I would totally do it if I was the king of England. There's a bit of a reference to Xaden, to the fact that if Holden were to find out about Xaden killing his twin brother, Aaric, then he wouldn't act as okay with it. He wouldn't be as okay with it as Aaric seems to be now. And I think that's foreshadowing. I think there's definitely going to be a time where Holden finds out.
Yeah, and we still don't know how Aaric found out. We're speculating a lot of stuff, but actually there's no official confirmation how he found out that Satan killed him. Even Satan said, I don't know how he found out, but...
Yeah, there was a suspicion that he was intrinsic because of that, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I think his dragon told him. I think it's
That's
just...
it.
Yeah, I do. They're both blue dragons. I think Sigale is a bitch, and Sigale and his blue dragon were having a bit of a my rider's better than yours. And Sigale was like, well, mine killed your guy's brother, so I win.
No, because Dain is the one who said that dragons don't
Gossip
about their
yeah,
riders.
but Sigale does what she wants. Sigale isn't a normal dragon. Also, there's a real reference to the eyes here. Holden has green eyes. Aaric has really green eyes. Who else has really green eyes? Imogen. Is she royal?
That was one of my suspicions at the beginning, and more with the pink hair. So I was thinking that she was hiding something, and she was the only reference as well about person with green eyes. So a couple of times I was just thinking it could be maybe she is a
illegitimate child of the king.
Yeah, that was my first.
But you would if you were going to try and change your appearance. I don't think they have contacts in ancient Navarre.
No, but it's more about the hair, because maybe if she's blonde or something really specific, they're going to put in the spot as who was the mother, and maybe she's just trying to hide all that kind of stuff.
Maybe. Aaric and Cam have brown hair, and brown hair is kind of pretty innocuous, isn't it? It's not really that.
Yeah.
It doesn't stand out. But yeah, I think that the green eyes is definitely a sign that there could be some relation there to the royal family. Not that they'll be the only ones, but it's just such a vivid green that feels not normal, not something you normally see.
One of the reasons that Holden is there as well is to deliver a letter to Violet. It's a letter from the Carros, where he said that the king of Deverelli is wanting to start some negotiation, but to start with that, he's asking for something really specific, and he's asking for the Amelian's training, I think it's called, and it's something that's an Anka. There's a city that has been taken over by the Dark Wielders, so there's a challenge right there for Violet. And talking about a little bit of everything, Holden is is it that true that you are with Ryerson? And he's just talking about Satan he's
oh yeah, he's
a rider.
He's a he's a rebel.
A traitor.
Yeah, he's a traitor. Just before we go into that though, I do want to talk about this citrine thing, the amulet. I don't get it. I'm confused. And again, maybe I just need to finish reading the book again. It's from Takaris. Takaris says it's for the King of Deverelli.
Yes. So it's negotiations.
But actually, it never makes it to the King of Deverelli. Violet is... Doesn't she think she has to trade it for the books, for the research in that bookshop? Because then she said, I thought I had to bring a treasure, so I thought I had to bring this. But actually, what I needed to bring was my own mind.
Mm-hmm.
But this letter says that thing was for the king.
Yes. So, I don't know if maybe they send them to the king, so they had the rights to be in the island, because they need to be in the island to start looking for the research. So maybe that was like a ticket to go in.
No, he takes Holden instead, doesn't he?
Yeah, as a representative of the royal family.
Yeah, but he says he's going to keep him.
Yeah, so...
I don't know.
Sure.
It doesn't. We'll get to that bit and we'll deep dive it and we'll understand it. But I read this. I didn't question it on the first read through, but now I'm reading it again. I was like, hang on a minute. I thought she took that to the bookshop, but she didn't get. She didn't have to give it to them because yeah. Anyway, we will find out.
Yeah. So talking about Holden, he is definitely a dick. Like on the side that he's saying, he sees like somebody that he believes that he's like the best thing ever, and talking with Violet, he's like trying to get something from her, and then by the end we start to see that he's trying to approach like, let's go for a dinner. I would like to apologize in the proper way, and then even he tries to touch her. And here is when Satan can take it anymore, and then send shadows to just send the prince flying away. Yeah, that's the end of the chapter.
Yeah.
With shit.
This is another sign of Xaden losing control, and just another instance of Xaden losing control. He loses control when she's not there. He loses control when she is there. He is just not in control.
I mean, that for me is another thing that how little he cares about titles or other stuff, because that could be like taken as a threat for Navarre, because it's the prince of Navarre, and he just...
Yeah, he pretends it's an accident.
Oops.
But you just... I think it would be quite hard, and like caring about titles, I think it would be quite hard for a lot of people to break up with somebody royal, because you're like, probably really want it to work. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And Holden's probably not used to rejection. He's a prince. There'll be lots of women like just throwing themselves at him just because he's a prince, and men. He's not used to it, so he probably likes the challenge. She's like, no, you cheated on me, you threw it away. Yeah. Right, shall we do Aaric's auguries?
Okay.
I've talked a lot about Aaric's ability to predict the future in this episode.
Yeah.
What is your favourite prediction for the future books?
I think when we had a mention about this writer that was in a relationship with Brennan, they were talking about Nowlin. So I think that is another reference for Nowlin.
Yeah. I've done it again. So when I was thinking about this in prep for the episode, I thought my favourite theory was going to be that Irids are from the Barrens, and that we'll find out that they've searched and searched and searched, and they should have looked for evidence in the Barrens. Whether they're still there, I don't know. But actually, I really like what we talked about with Irids potentially being able to break the connection between the Earth and the Venin.
Yeah.
So the Irids somehow being part of the cure.
Yeah. I like it too.
Sticking with the theme of precognition, shall we look at the epigraph for chapter 18?
Yes, 18.
I cannot imagine sustainable life beyond the Emerald Sea. No ship has ever survived the tempests that form its ice-tipped waves, and the only sailors who return from her exploration do so defeated. The Last Admiral, a memoir by Admiral Levian Crosslight.
Okay, so obviously it's just like a little bit of information about we're going to see next chapter, where we're going, where we pretend to go.
Where we would go if Grady wasn't so incompetent and pick Aura Binehaven, who's going to set him on fire.
Yeah, soon. No.
Error. Yeah. Right. So the interrogation chamber last week was who is in your quest squad. Grady needs 12 because he's incompetent. We're only going to take 6. Who's in yours?
So definitely Zaydan. Then we have Violet. We had as well Aaric, Rihanna, Imogen, and Brennan.
Interesting. So, I am similar, but I would switch out Rhiannon for Mirror because I'd want a shield.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have said that he can make shields. So.
Yeah, good point. Fair point. I was going to do something really weird, and so I think Imogen's really, really powerful, but I think I'd want Aaric. Mm-hmm. So the only changes I'd make to your squad would be Mirror for Rhiannon.
Yeah.
And although we know Mirror's really powerful, wait, hang on, we're going to steal the amulet. Could she not just summon it?
Yeah.
Just avoid all of that. So Aaric hopefully would be able to see where it was.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't need a water wielder for the fire because I wouldn't be taking a fire wielder.
No, this is the perfect plan. So you use Aaric to find out what it is. You send Gary with Rihanna close to that place. Then Rihanna just get the stuff. Then Gary take it back to Basgaia. Then in 2 minutes, mission complete.
Can she summon things she can't see?
No, that's why Gary has to go there. So Aaric has to show him the way.
Yeah. I wouldn't really bother taking Zayden in that instance.
Zayden is just like a bonus. Like, it could be a protection, could be a weapon.
Yeah.
And
Sigale's also pretty good. Right. So this week, or the question for next week in the interrogation chamber, thinking back to Signet sparring, who from the Iron Squad would be the easiest to beat? Who is the weakest link in the Iron Squad? So I'm saying Signet wise.
Yes. Okay. Good question.
So that brings us to the end of this week's episode. If you are not already doing so, don't forget to follow us on social media at Faithfully Fantasy Pod. We are most active on Instagram, so be sure to connect with us there. We also have a Discord community, so come and join the chat. We love to hear from our listeners, so any way that you want to get in touch with us, do. For more information about us, for the shop, for all the episodes, if you're not finding them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., check out our website, www.faithfullyfantasy.com.
And with this, we have just one more thing to say. Thank you for listening to Faithfully Fantasy,
the husband and wife podcast talking all things Onyx Storm.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we'll see you next week with more theories, more deep dives, and of course with more Faithfully Fantasy.
Bye.